Welcome to The Dead Life. Here's world-renowned medium, Allison DuBois.
Today on The Dead Life, we have a myriad of questions from call-in listeners, ranging from a funny ghost story to real-life problems. Call-in questions and supernatural experiences shared are many of your favorite episodes, so keep calling in and maybe you'll get your question answered by me on a future episode. To book a reading with me, email us at booking@AllisonDuBois.com. If you have a life question for me and Sophia, for my Love Me, Love Me Not segment, leave your question at 802-332-3811. Don't forget to pick up a bottle of my Divination 22 Money Potion Vodka or Love Potion at One Handsome Bastard in Old Town Scottsdale or Handlebar J's to set your intentions for 2025. And speaking of setting your intentions, I'm very excited to announce my singles mixer at Handlebar J's on March 1st to launch my Divination 22 Love Potion Vodka. Ticket holders get to try my Love Potion, and I'll teach you how to set a proper intention. Brandon Rader, a professional matchmaker and relationship expert, will be there to help you create a high-caliber love life. Free tarot readings, drinks, music, food, and so much more. Bring your single friends. I'll be there signing bottles of my Love Potion Vodka and any of my 6 books that you might want to have signed. Go to divination22.com to buy your tickets. Come find love and change your life. Welcome back, Joe.
Wow, you had a lot of news.
There's always something going on. So, yeah.
You're always getting into something.
I know. Last summer it was Mediumship camp, and now I've got this. Although I think this, for me, might be a one-time thing because I have so many clients that say, oh, you read me perfectly. You totally get my energy. And, they're looking for love. They always say I should set up a dating site. And I honestly don't have time for that because I have so much going on already, multiple jobs. So I thought this would be really cool to kick off the Love Potion Vodka, put it in action, let people taste it, set their intentions, and mingle, because I have such quality clients and friends that this is actually a perfect opportunity to bring them all together, along with some just fans and people who are looking for 2025 to look very different than 2020 through 2025. Going into 2025, they want it to feel differently. People are hopeful. They're very excited about changing the direction of their life. The power lies within them, which is what Divination 22 Vodka's for, is just to help give a kick to manifest what it is that you want to draw into your life. So I'm excited and I'm happy to be there to teach people how to set a proper intention.
You should be. This is very exciting. And it's with the, you say you're only going to do it once, but as soon as those people have the love connection, they'll be back. Yeah.
Well, we'll put some of those testimonials up so that people can see that. Do you need to get a water?
No.
Okay. So that people can see the testimonials or how people's lives were affected, because we have a money potion as well. We have the money potion and the love potion. And I've heard back from a lot of people who have used both and found excellent results. So I'm pretty excited.
Excellent.
Okay. So why don't we go ahead and start with the first caller?
All right. This is Jamie.
Hi, Allison. My name is Jamie. I live in New Hampshire. I don't have a question, but I don't know if at any point you'll ever just tell silly stories, but I have a silly one for you. So I've been listening to your podcast, and my mom and I have been talking about it quite a bit and different experiences that we've had over the years. And recently I went to the grocery store and was looking toward where the shredded cheeses were. No one was around that area, and a package of shredded cheese just flew out into the aisle. And it was the craziest thing. So I told my mom about it, and the other day she called me and said that she was at the grocery store, different grocery store, and she looked down an aisle that nobody was in, and something came flying off the shelf. So we just thought it was the most hysterical thing. We're not sure who on the other side is throwing food to get our attention, but we think it's very funny. We do have a handful of loved ones over there, so I thought it was a funny story to let you know about. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
I wanted to share that story because people don't get to hear all of the ones that I get to hear, all the little paranormal quips that people have to share. And I think it's funny in readings that I do, many people, when I bring through the dead, many of them will say, especially the women, obviously, I like to go to the grocery store with my daughter. I like to help her pick things out still, which is why we'll get a feeling that we need something in a grocery store that we've never bought before. Or there's a medicine that you feel drawn to get. You don't know why, because you're not sick. It's because somebody's telling you you're about to get sick, or someone in your house is about to get sick. And we've had that happen before.
So do you think somebody was telling her she's not eating enough cheese?
No, I think someone was telling her you're going to need this cheese and you don't know it yet, but it's going to be there for you should you buy it. See, this is the difference of listening to the other side. Right. If you look at the cheese and say, oh, wow, that's funny, I feel loved, and you put the cheese back, well, somebody was trying to help you out in something you were going to need, and now you put it back on the shelf. So it's like great that you appreciated it, but they're trying to make our lives easier. People, pay attention.
I know there's been a number of times when you've bought things that you don't even know why, and then you'll bring it home and it'll be like, I guess we need cheese. I don't know.
I'll bring it home.
I'm trying to think of what the most recent one, because it happens weekly. Like it happens.
It'll be something such as NyQuil, and we won't be sick. And then Sophia shows up with a cold, and I'm like, "Here, take this home with you." They're really helpful in the grocery store for sure. There's an emotional connection to the grocery store for a lot of women because it ties into how they took care of their families and their children when they were small, and even having to wrangle the kids in the grocery carts. And maybe, back in the day, we get an icy or an ice cream or something. I don't think they do that now, but it was fun to go when you were a little kid back in the day. And so there seems to be an emotional connection to shopping. I have a lot of moms that I bring through, and I can tell who is a bargain shopper, because they'll tell their daughter that they miss shopping with her and getting all those good deals, at the after Christmas sales. So some women still carry that energy of wanting to get that deal, which I think is hilarious. So I wanted to share that. Thank you, Jamie. That was hilarious. I hope you bought the cheese.
All right. Are you ready for our next caller?
Born ready.
Hi, Allison. I have been a huge fan since Medium. But I have a question. I was newly divorced this past year. I moved out a couple of years ago, so I'm past the anger and the hurt, and I'm ready to move on. I'm good. We're good. I met a guy. We're dating. Kind of had a little issue this weekend. How do I know if he's the one or not? It's so weird dating after I met my ex in 99. So after almost 25 years, and here we are again. I'm 46 and single, and I don't want to be alone. I miss the good times. So how do we know? What can I don't know what to say. I hope you can answer this. Thanks.
This is where your mind reading comes in. So you know what she's saying.
Here's the thing. I read a lot of people, men and women, on relationship issues that they have. So she's newly divorced, was with her ex in 99, I believe she had said. So there's two different layers here. First, she's saying, how do I know if they're the one? Well, it depends on what the one is to you. If you just want someone to eat dinner with, and that's what you're looking for, like how you define the one. Some people will define that as a soulmate, where everything feels right because you finally found that sort of other part of your energy that was out in the universe and you finally connected. Some people would be happy just having somebody to have dinner with that they sort of have nice, light conversation with that will do what they want them to do. So it depends on what the one is to each individual and how you define that. So it would depend on what it is. She said she doesn't want to be alone. And that really stood out to me when she said that. And I can understand there are a lot of people that stay together just out for the sake of not wanting to be alone. It's not because the person they're with is particularly excellent as a partner or, makes them happy. It's that they don't want to be alone. And one of the things I've learned from the dead is don't let fear guide your life. So to me, being afraid to be alone falls under the umbrella of fear. And, that's okay. That's okay. It's just you can't expect great results under those conditions. So it sounds like he's not the one. Not the way I would define the one, but if he works for her and just having somebody around that cares if you live or die, sometimes that's enough for some people, honestly. I'd be interested in people's take on that, my listeners, how they view relationships and what people are looking for in life. Some people are hopeless romantics. They need the love story. They want the Notebook, high expectations. Often disappointed if it falls below that bar. So there are those people out there. Personally, I'd rather be alone than settle, but that's easy for me to say because I met you when I was 20. So that's easy for me to say because I've never really had to do that. Would things change if circumstances changed and I was alone? Maybe. I don't know. I'm an Aquarius, so we're just sort of good being alone, which is why I had to draw on a moon in Aquarius, because you also are okay being alone, and that just works for us. So there's no guarantees. When people say, are they the one? How do you know if they're the one? There are no guarantees in life that any relationship's going to work out, even the best case scenario. We've been together over 30 years. We can't imagine being with anyone else or seeing ourselves without one another. So, that's very different than maybe somebody who is just wants someone to go to concerts with. So it depends, but there's no guarantees either way. I could get in a car accident tomorrow and die, and you can end up alone. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, so.
Now, just so you know, when you say things like that coming from you, now I'm worried.
Oh, so stop. What?
Take it back.
This is an example. It's just an example. I know a lot of people out there have lived a life where they thought everything was set and everything was going beautiful in their life. And then the universe throws a wrench into the harmony of their life, and it's just utter chaos, and they lose someone or something doesn't work out because the person changes because they got a brain injury, and they're no longer the same person.
And I think that's probably, so there are a lot of factors.
Yeah.
What point in your life are you at and what are you looking for? If somebody goes with somebody so they're not lonely, and some people really just can't be alone. And then when something hard comes up, it's even harder to stay with them. So when they do that one thing that, just really grates on you, or maybe they shift their personality because of a brain injury or something like that, it makes me wonder, that it would be much harder for them to stay together. So that would say they're not the one, but did it make sense to be roommates at the time?
There's circumstances in life that sometimes somebody is the one, and you were supposed to be living a life to learn certain lessons from them, and then something changes because whatever you were supposed to learn's already unfolded. So you can't even go down that road. It's a slippery slope. There's too many variables, but I believe she said she's around 46 or something now. So she would have been pretty young in her early 20s when she was with her ex. So, and sounds like they were together for quite a while. I would take my time. If you've been with somebody for that long from an early age, you're 46 now, just figure out who you are. Spend some time getting to know you and making more friends and learning new skills and collecting hobbies. Focus on you for a change. A lot of people get used to being in a married relationship or even a long-term relationship, and they don't know how to be alone. Sometimes being alone can be a good thing because you have to really be introspective of who you are and where you want to get to in life, aside from another person. Because although, for us, we're a couple, Allison and Joe, people always think of our names together, and I get it. But we're also very much individuals. You're into astrophysics and I'm into the dead. And that's that we come from two very different worlds that strangely have a common thread to them. And so that we have that in common, but it's very different at the same time. And people should have their own space and time to develop who you are in this lifetime, side by side with the person that you draw into your world, but not living your life around that person. If you start living your life around the partner, then there's an imbalance in the relationship. I say, take your time, girl, and go out with some other people, see what's out there. No need to lock down right now. You're in your 40s. Enjoy your powerful 40s and kick the rock down the road until a later date. But live in the moment and don't worry about is this the one? There are no guarantees. So,
Good advice.
And I my sense is the answer is no.
Yeah.
So.
All right, here we go.
Hi, this is Kayla. I was wanted to call and ask a question about abortion. I know it's kind of a dark subject, but if someone were to choose to have an abortion early on, or, for example, someone who is a teenager, and made that choice by themselves and had an abortion, are you sort of held to that when you get to the other side? Like you basically, for lack of a better word, killed your baby while you were here? I just kind of wanted to get some more information on that, how that works out karmically. Did the soul already reach the body, when you did that? And is that soul evolving on the other side? Even if it was, very early on. So anyway, if you have any insight around that subject at all, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
So I'm going to get it from both sides on this one, but I'm going to answer this question anyway. I'm going to get it from the highly religious, and then I'm going to get it from the other side as well.
But you know what? That's what people appreciate about you. You'll say what it is that you see.
Yeah. That's what I can speak to, Kayla. You're not penalized for this, I think is what she was searching for in that question in the beginning. You're not penalized on the other side for making a decision that you needed to make for your own conscience or your own path, or whether you were unable to take care of a child or you were just very young and didn't know what to do, and that was a decision you made. That's not something that you need to, it's not to be taken lightly. So I'm not saying that at all, but I am saying that it's not something you have to pay for the rest of your life. Especially when it's early on, she had asked about the soul. And in my experience, and this is just speaking to what I've seen on the other side, and also what I feel when I sense pregnancy. When I'm around people that are newly pregnant, I don't really sense souls. And you know me, I pick up on energy around the room, whether it's something like a spider, even like I can sense it. It's weird. Right. But I don't sense the soul presence in the beginning. That doesn't mean it's not there. It's just not something I've experienced. As a pregnancy goes on and you get more past like 6 months, there is a presence. There's a stirring of the soul in that child. I think a lot of women will recognize that they'll crave certain things that even after they have the child was very pertinent to that child's personality in utero. So 6 to 9 months, yes, I do see that present. But I also read a lot of parents who've lost a child, not at their will, but because the child's body couldn't sustain it, or there was a complication and the baby dies, at childbirth or shortly after, or of SIDS. Those souls, because they didn't really get a chance to evolve, create a life, have a favorite food, favorite toys, develop the connection with mom and dad as much as more of the age I'm looking at. So I'm looking at in utero, probably 2 3 months.
Okay.
So that's the space I'm going to put it in. Doesn't mean they're not a person. Doesn't mean there's not a soul there. Just saying not a lot of evolution's gone on.
Right.
Those souls tend to recycle back into the family when the baby is aborted, the way, whether it's abortion or miscarriage. The body is evacuating the baby. It's that process, that aspect of the process is the same, where the fetus no longer can stay in the body. So, but it's the decision that Kayla speaks of that weighs on her. And I see this with a lot of women, no matter how old they get after they had an abortion, feeling very guilty about it. And what I have to say is, you weighed all of the choices and what made sense or worked for you at the time. And there needs to be a level of forgiveness that you give to yourself, and that you made the best decision you could at the time. Aside from that, the child's soul will find a way into your family one way or another, whether it's a future child that you have yourself, or your sister, your brother could have a child and the soul finds a way in. It's interesting. They want to be in that family. It's almost as if that soul's being sent to that family specifically, like it vibes with it. So I don't know if that soul is something from the past in the family that is trying to make their way back into the family, but there's a strange tie that seems to exist between the soul of a baby and coming into a specific family. So with abortions and miscarriages, they do find a way to exist in that family one way or another. They find a body that can sustain them, that will give them that opportunity to grow in that family. So that's my experience. Now, are there going to be exceptions where nobody in the family ever has a child ever again, and that was the one shot? Sure, there are exceptions. But most of the time, what I see is the soul trying to find its way in one way or another, which is why you'll see somebody who's an aunt feel very bonded and close to a niece or a nephew. And now this aunt had a miscarriage or an abortion earlier in life and could swear that this niece or nephew feels like her own son or daughter. There's a reason for that, because the soul found its way into the family. And it's why certain family members feel closer to some of the children more so than others. This is not all of the time. This is some of the time. I just feel like I need to say that, because on YouTube, people really like to go to town on the what ifs. And I'm just saying, most of the time I'm seeing the babies that don't really make it to fruition recycle back into the family. And Kayla, whoever it is that went through it, whether it's you or someone you're going to have to forgive that part of yourself and know that the soul of that child found its place in the family, or is working to find its place in the family. They're not suspended on the other side. They're not penalized for not having a body that could sustain them, or a mother who could sustain them. They're not penalized for that. They are given entry into the world. It's just a matter of them having another opportunity to come into the world.
Well, I really commend you for tackling that topic. It's a hard one.
It is.
I can't even comment, because I mean, I haven't, I'm a guy.
Yeah, it's sensitive, and it's a hyperbolic topic, and it can hit a lot of heated buttons for people, whether it's because of religion or because of their own personal beliefs. And one thing about social media that's good, it connects people. Another thing is there are people out there that say some stupid things. So please, if you've got something stupid to say, please don't comment below.
Right.
What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying that anytime we take life as being sacred, and then it always goes down, when does life start? But the way you answered it, it's not when life starts. Your connection with that person is still there.
Right. And it's really interesting with babies too, the soul. You can look into a baby's eyes when they're newborns, and it's just pure and they're sweet, but there's almost nothing there. Do you know what I mean? Where it's almost like a glassy-eyed look that they give you. They're still making sense of shapes and colors and there's not a full evolution that's taken place in there. It's not the same as the 2-year-old. I was going to say dragging their yellow blanket all around, and that has its own opinions, and it favors dad, and it's a different energy.
Likes eating peas but not carrots, right?
Yeah, it's a different energy. So it's not that the soul doesn't exist in those younger children. It's that it hasn't
developed.
It hasn't developed. It hasn't expanded. It hasn't fleshed out. It's just not filled out. It doesn't have color yet to it, energy. So it's potential still. It's like soul potential that's there that hasn't been realized.
Well said.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Kayla.
Yes, thank you, Kayla. We move on.
Oh, I just knew I was going to be one of those people who talk too much and got cut off. My boss actually will time my voice messages that I leave to him and just text me the number.
What keeps going on?
I'm sorry. So anyway, I was saying my dad is 93 and he is still alive. So the fact that I got this visitation, I was like, oh my gosh. I told my husband, I said, I'm afraid that I'm going to get a phone call from my mom this morning telling me that my dad passed. Well, that didn't happen. My dad is still alive and well. So now I'm wondering what happened. I mean, I have a few theories, but I don't want to guess about this. I'm wondering if it's preparing me for something coming with my dad. If maybe he did pass away a little bit in his sleep that night, and that's why he was quiet and confused. Or it kind of made me doubt whether I did truly understand the difference between visitations and dreams. So I'm hoping you can clear that up for me. Thank you again. And again, sorry for being so long-winded. Take care.
I love that my listeners can listen to the call-ins, and energies are so different. People's energies, the range of energies is just so incredible. So I think Tom would say she probably has a lot of air in her chart because she's a communicator.
Yeah.
So she had a dream, strong feeling that her dad was going to die. Without having more information, it's hard to fully give my explanation for it 100%, but I will say this. If you had a dream and you're having this strong feeling, this almost dread that someone's going to die, that's what it feels like when the other side is telling you that person's going to die. Now, for me, because I can hear the other side, the communications in various ways. They communicate various ways. There's nuances to how they communicate. Sometimes it's straight up like, hey, your dad's going to die at 67 of a massive heart attack, which is what I was told with my dad, and spent 2 years trying to prevent it. Most of you know the story because I've written about it in my books. So for me, that was the communication. For a lot of people, and don't dismiss this feeling, if you have a very strong feeling that your dad's going to die, I will say he's 93, so it's probably present of mind already to her, something she might worry about. But there's this added weight on her, this feeling, this knowingness. It's a knowingness. That's a prediction. When it's a knowingness and you just know it deep inside, you're reading the energy. You're seeing what's going to happen. You're feeling it coming. It's a very real experience. For her, this strong feeling that he's dying, I would say if people have those feelings, that's when you need to make amends with the person, say what you need to say, visit them as much as you need to visit them, and be at peace with that they're going to slip away. Because here's the thing. Whether he dies this year or not, it is a 9 year, so the chances are high because a 9 year is a year of endings. It takes people out that are barely hanging on. So heads up for all of you, if you've got somebody elderly or sick in your family, whether they, went into remission or not, this year is going to have a way of bringing things from out of left field that decisively take people out. So there's an energy this year of completion, of a finish, an end. So if she's having this feeling, she knows what she needs to do to be all right with him passing. And you just have to find that peace within yourself. So he's 93. He's not, 53, where you're really trying to buy him more time.
Sure.
So this is more of a matter of, my feeling is that it's a small prediction from the other side, or heads up that he's going to be going, that they're going to have him, that she doesn't have to worry about him, and for her to go check on him, talk to him, love on him, whatever. But this is the exit coming up on the on-ramp.
So I guess the question is, did he have...
Or off-ramp, sorry.
Well, I guess depends which side. So if he had one foot on the other side, at night, like you said, that maybe he did slip over, would that, and maybe it could be a visit, but then you're saying, well, maybe it's just the other side getting her ready, so she'll know what it feels like.
I think it's more of a premonition, is my sense, rather than a visit.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
so it might feel the same to her, and they're just getting her ready. They're just like, hey.
Well, that's what he's going to feel like on the other side. Exactly. So they could be presenting to her what he will feel like after he dies, and that things won't be so different, that he'll feel clear of mind and focused and okay.
Well, it sounds like she has a great relationship with her dad, and that she will continue to have a great relationship.
Yeah, it sounds like that. I will add to this, though, there are women, and I feel like I need to say this for all the mothers out there, who worry that their child's going to die, and there's way too many layers to sort through on this one, but they'll get a feeling. And I hear from a lot of mothers when I bring their kids through that when they were in the hospital having the child, or holding the child right after having them, there was a sense of dread that they knew they weren't going to have them for long. Mm-hmm. So that is a very real thing for women to have that premonition. But then some moms, we all worry that something's going to happen to our kids. And so then we become sure of it. And then our own worry turns into a paranoia, and then we try and wrap them in bubble wrap and not let them be part of the world. And we can't do that either. Mm-hmm. They have to have a young life. You have to let them blossom. Mm-hmm. And you can stunt their growth if you don't give them some space to figure out who they are. Mm-hmm. So there's a fine balance moms have to strike. But I just wanted to say, for all the moms out there that's heads snapped up and they're like, oh my God, I had that feeling about my child.
I knew it.
That's normal. We all worry about that because we feel so connected to our children. So I don't want you to think that because you have that feeling that it's going to happen and that your child's going to die. That's most of the time, that's not going to be the case. One of the times where I do find that the premonitions seem particularly accurate is right after somebody's given birth, if they have that ominous feeling in the hospital. And I've heard that a lot from from the women, the mothers, but also even the children that I've brought through will say, you knew when I was born that I was yours on loan. And the moms will say, I knew I wasn't going to have him that long. I knew it then, which I find frightening and astounding all at the same time, how connected we really are to our children. And then to live with that feeling, knowing that every day you're like drinking them in with your eyes and your heart and your mind, just taking them in because you want to hold on to them so badly. In some instances, I think when moms do that, when they're really savoring the children and in each moment with them, I think sometimes those moms get more quality time with their kids than the moms that aren't worried about it.
Right.
And there are moms out there that aren't worried about it. They're like, he'll be all right.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, moms of various shades and colors of light. Some are good, some aren't as good. And but I do find that most moms will have that sixth sense when it comes to their kid. We know when they're lying to us. And a lot of moms know when their kid's lying to them, but they don't want to address it or believe it. And then they pretend that it's not really a lie. It's like, come on, you know it's a lie, girl. So there's so much to talk about when it comes to motherhood and intuition and premonitions. Maybe we'll do an episode on that if I have some call in about premonitions you've had about your child or experiences that you've had with your child where you knew they were lying. And I bet there's some funny stories, as I know I have some funny ones of my own that I'll share for that episode. So why don't you go ahead and give us a call at 802-332-3811. I would love to hear the mom stories. Well, thank you for being my sounding board and my partner in crime today. And thank you to my listeners for tuning in. Tune in next week for a fresh episode of The Dead Life. I'm Allison DuBois. This is The Dead Life. And to all of my believers out there, don't stop believing.
Join us next week on The Dead Life. And don't forget to subscribe now to get notified of every new episode.